And good afternoon and welcome to Straight Talk. This is your Drive at 5 show. Catherine Tyson, the host. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. So happy that you're driving along, you tuned in. You are in for a treat this afternoon. Today is Thursday. It is a Success 101. So it is an awesome day. Every day is awesome, but it's extra awesome. Awesome day in the studio because, every Thursday I really try to catch up with a young Canadian that is doing things out there, and we're just so proud of them. And of course, we talk about ushering them through all the times we have to do that. Yesterday, we had the Department of Children and Family Services in, and they were talking about the month of the older person. So that was, our elderly community, our senior citizen community that we really have to, embrace and celebrate and ensure that we're getting all the knowledge from them. Then we're taking care of them because they took care of us. We wouldn't be here without them. And of course, Thursday today, Success 101, we're bringing the young people on and we're talking about them and their journey. Success looks like what you make it look like. And I'm so excited just to be sharing these kinds of stories today in the studio. We do have two of the Miss Cayman Islands Universe contestants. That pageant occurred, was it this month? Last month? I can't remember. They'll remind me. I know I was there, but the brain kind of hazy sometimes. But you know what? They were there. I spoke with all the young ladies except one before the pageant, talking about the pageant coming up. And then I said, you know what? I want to speak to them after. So I had Georgina Clifford come in. She actually, claimed the title. Let me tell you, that group of young ladies that was on that stage, nine of them, they were all awesome. They were kicking butt. Yes, I said it. And it could have went anyway that night. I sat front seat. I literally was right next to the stage. And I'm telling you, they showed up and they showed out. So I thought, you know what? I want to bring some of those young ladies back to chat about the experience. And I happen to have in the studio the first runner-up. That's like the one right next to the queen. So anything happens, she got a little too cold, too much colds or something, or she's not well, they're going to be, pushing this young lady right into her spot. Okay, so Georgina, stay healthy. That's Kimberly Carlos, first runner-up for the night, and we talk about some of the other things that happened that night. Hi, Kimberly, and thank you for joining me this afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm super excited. It's crazy how fast time flies. I mean, just thinking back to the last time I was here, almost felt like last week.
Right. Yeah. And remind us when the pageant was so that, I'm not going on without this date. You have to remember, when was it?
The 18th of September.
The 18th of September. All right. So it's been a few weeks already. All right. Okay. Almost a month.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess your feet must have hit the ground.
Sort of.
Sort of.
I'm still
Yeah.
making that transition back to a normal routine in life. Like I don't know what to do with myself.
I can imagine. And we also have one of the second runner-ups. So we have, and so that means if Georgina, gets a little cold, she's not well. And then Ashley, not Ashley, Kimberly happens to be a little cold, get a little sick. Then we got Ashley Crowe, who tied with Leah Harrison for second runner-up place. I think that was a monumental because there were so many ties that night. But good afternoon, Ashley, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Okay, now let me tell you something. It's really good to just have you guys here because I'm definitely I don't know, what do I call myself? A girly girl. Yeah, so I love pageantry. I really do. I love the empowerment of it all. Right? I don't see it objectifying part. I really don't. I see it really you doing what you want to do with your run and with your competition. And I see it as a sisterhood as well. Obviously, I'm a mother, so that's why I would feel it that way because I'm front and center. And I just think that you guys did awesome. So I want to bring you in and just talk about that. How was that experience now that you're here, as opposed to when you came in and you didn't know who was going to be the winner or what was going to happen that night? How does that feel right now, Ashley?
Sure. I mean, it's been a whirlwind and it took a lot to do. I don't think a lot of people realize how much courage it takes.
Right.
And for me, I'm a performer. I have a performance background. I'm an actor. That's what I do for a living. And even with my performance background, it doesn't matter, because to be yourself on a public platform is difficult. It requires great bravery and courage. I think, especially if you are like genuine with your intentions of what you want to use your platform for, it is a level up within yourself. And it was a challenge. It's one of the most challenging things I think I've ever done. I am grateful to have had the experience, and it was wonderful to see the potential and the opportunities that come out of pageantry that I'd never experienced before. I do think still that pageantry has a ways to go with progression, as I feel with a lot of different institutions, and it was special to be a part of that, and to be welcomed within a new community, I think, as well.
Yeah, so definitely. So it definitely was an experience. I think, like what you're saying, just being yourself.
Yeah.
So not playing a character.
No, no, you got to own it. And I am not. I don't think I don't have any background with pageantry. I'm very outspoken, and it's really learning how to own that voice in an arena that might not be as that might not have a voice like that.
Right.
So it was a challenge, and I'm really proud of myself. Honestly, I really am, and I'm happy for the friends that I've made out of it, and the people who I've gotten to work with, and really just being able to engage with in my Caymanian roots, I think has been fantastic. It's been a wonderful way of being back home, and that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah. And so you think that you kind of communicated exactly the stuff that you wanted to communicate during that time?
I think so. I mean, I definitely am still learning how to better do that. I think there is a reason why Georgina was crowned, and I'm super excited for what this journey and experience will be for her. That being said, with my own personal platform, I think I'm looking forward to fine tuning it and really figuring out how I want to do exactly what it is I came in, the vision that I came in with, and how to do that in this role and in my everyday life, because that hasn't changed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good also. Now, Kimberly, what about you? So you're saying like the dust is kind of settling a little bit. I mean, that night I was really excited. I think I saw you being excited, which I was confused about. I saw you being excited, more excited for Georgina than yourself. Like at one point, I told you how amazing you did, and you're like, "She did so good," and I was like, "No, you did good." And I just think that was just so cute, just so interesting. And you were just like, "Oh my God, she was amazing." I'm like, "Girl,
Yeah.
so are you." So I think that you really have embraced that sisterhood thing to the point where you were like, "Oh my gosh, like my little sister has won this thing."
Yeah, and that's exactly how it felt, to be honest. Because even though we've all developed bonds amongst ourselves, I think from the very get-go, Georgina and I had this like kindred spirit, and we just connected so quickly. Out of everybody else, like we just got each other, and so throughout the whole process, we were each other's like camaraderie. And we had that rapport going. So I remember when they called me as first runner-up, I was a little disappointed because, of course, I mean, we were all in this together and hoping to win the crown. But I just said to like myself, and I looked over at her. I said, "It's you." And I remember her just smiling like, "Kim, shut up." And like we had that little joke between ourselves. But to me, I'm so proud of her. I'm proud of all of us and the growth that we've had. And it's been such a unique experience because we discovered how to fine tune ourselves and just how to be better versions of who we are.
I can imagine. Now I got a question. I got a couple of questions for you guys over here. But one of them is, at some point, did it get catty?
I
Like,
think
was it
rehearsals, like leading up to the actual night.
Well, define, what does catty mean to you?
Well, she answered it, so she must have a definition of what catty means for her.
The pause come out.
Where it became a competition, where it wasn't like, "Oh, we're all sisters, and I'm so excited about you, and I hope you." And then at some point, you're like, "You know what? I'm actually here vying for a crown, so I need to get focused and not be sister here because I need to, bring my A game." That's what I mean really about catty.
I don't know. I didn't experience that with sisters. I mean, I definitely had moments where like, this is a performance. We're here to work and to perform.
Right.
And then there's the element that like, yeah, okay, and this is competition, but I still stand with what I said in the beginning from the get-go about this is a competition with myself. Like,
Yeah.
I want y'all to win in whatever way that means. And for me, I don't think it ever was a situation of being like catty with my sisters, but there were definitely times where I was short in terms of we have a job to do, let's do it. I have a very vigilant background in performance, so I want to focus and I want to get to work. And so I definitely was definitely stern with that, but I would not consider that to be cattiness.
Okay, so that hadn't been, there wasn't any kind of negativity in terms of the competition. So competition was like just natural and that was fine. You're saying like it was expected, but it wasn't catty per se.
I'll speak for myself
Yeah.
in that I did not feel that way, but I will only speak for that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's cool. What about you?
I mean, being in the background, and I think being one of the eldest, a part of the eldest of the group, you definitely don't get drawn into that. But there are often, like, a lot of times it's like, okay, none of my business, I can't fool with this. But like, you definitely notice and observe it, and you can just see the tendencies, the needs, the remarks, the comments, and other people will play into it, and they'll really want to know more or want to be involved. But like, for the most part, I can't say there was much that I personally dealt with. Like, I observed it, and I was just like, I don't want to be a part of that.
Who do you think was the mama out of all of you? Who was the mother? Yeah, you're kind of mothering everybody. I was thinking that. Yeah.
I was going around fixing everyone's hair and like trying to make sure clothes are all pressed and whatnot.
Like, are you really that nice, or like when you get to your house, you scream and go, "Oh, I'm taking off this nice hat now."
I am probably
so nice.
I can't help that. I think being a big sister as well, and then my role with Duke of Edinburgh, I'm typically the mama bear of the group anyway. So by default, I play that role, and I guess naturally I just fall into this position of taking care of everybody else.
Okay.
And that in itself was a learning experience because you have to learn to take care of yourself first.
Yeah. What were some of the upsides you say to just the entire competition? And what are some of the downsides? What would you say? Ashley, I'll ask you first.
The upsides to the competition?
Sure, you can say upsides, but I'd like both.
Sure, I think any opportunity to really hone your voice and learn what you want to get out of an experience such as this, an opportunity such as this, any opportunity to do that in a way that pushes you and challenges you to sort of elevate within yourself, I think is an amazing opportunity. And that was the upside for me. I think the downside is for me coming from the work that I do and having certain expectations around that, and also really struggling to find my voice within this world. I think that I was new to, and there was a certain amount of grace that came to that. So I don't even know if that's really a downside so much as it was like, oh, I really had to work with that. That was something that I had to overcome in order to do it. Okay. So I don't know if it's necessarily a downside so much as it's just like managing expectations of both myself, but also people around me.
Well, that's good. Yeah. That's like a learning.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which is great. So there's no downside.
Yeah, no, I think that's downside.
And I think that's great. I'd love to also ask you how you think you've grown or changed, but I'll get to that.
Sure.
So I'll ask you what were some of the upsides and the downsides or the learnings that you would say came from the competition?
For me, the upsides would definitely be the networking that was involved and all the people that we've met through this whole process, and just actually knowing who your support team are. Like, that's where I really saw the love of my people come up, show up, and just like be so proud. Like, there were people that came up to me, they were like, "Oh my goodness, I've been following your entire journey. I'm just loving your growth and everything that you're doing." And like, to me, I had never met this person before, but actually realizing you're having an impact on people and being able to utilize this platform as a positive way to impact people's lives.
How many followers did you gain?
I don't know. I haven't checked that.
Oh, no?
I'm not that big. Like on Instagram,
Okay.
I don't have the like time to deal with all of that. You know, like
Interesting.
I'm not someone who lives on social media, so I would say that would probably be one of my downsides.
I
for
mean,
it.
yeah, because you are first runner-up Miss Canada's Universe. Like,
Yeah.
both of you really do have positions, right?
Right.
And you'll be called on to do stuff. So check your social
I know. I
media
need
for
to do
your
that.
for your followers.
I'm
Do
nervous.
that.
Like once I come home and like I see the notifications
What are
there,
you,
I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. I know. You know what? Like along with being a mama bear, my coworkers refer to me as little grandma.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, how do you think you've grown? How do you think you've grown and changed through this experience, Ashley, or Kimberly, whoever?
You go first, Kim. Let me take some time with this one.
How I've grown. I feel like I'm still growing throughout this whole process. Like I feel like any opportunity that challenges you or that's different or pushes you outside of your comfort zone is a way for you to just grow and improve yourself. Like I certainly grew up watching pageantry, but now I have a much greater appreciation for what it entails.
Right.
And the fact that it's not just a physical sport, so to speak, but it's an extreme sport. Because you have to be mentally and emotionally prepared at all times because you never know who's watching you and you never know who wants to approach you and ask you questions. And you have such high expectations of you. So not just as someone who's placed, but someone who actually partook in this, there is such a huge element of just being ready and being flexible as well and that adaptability. So I think I'm still learning and growing throughout that. But one of the biggest things that I learned about myself is how much I love performance. Like I was telling Ashley yesterday, I'd never really performed or been a part of any play or anything like that. But that opening dance, like that was amazing.
You had a lot
so
of
much
fun.
fun. Yeah.
You had a lot of fun. I've watched it a couple of times on YouTube because being there, you see one angle, but the camera angle is amazing. You watched it?
I
You
have,
guys
yeah.
look amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was so much fun. Like the costumes.
And you were
and
having a lot of
makeup.
fun. I didn't notice that Georgina was having a lot of fun too. I thought she was like partying, and I'm like, you're just having so much fun, and I could see it, and I thought that was really, just very. I loved it because it just felt like that was just a moment to just let your hair down technically and have fun. And you were just rocking the runway with your gold. All I could think of was the Grammy Award.
Yeah.
That's all I thought. Like I'm seeing like still photos of that of you, with the kind of the hair and everything, and just very regal. And how'd you feel?
I mean, I felt amazing, and it's funny because I joke with my cousins. They were like, "Boy, Ashley was not about to fall on that stage. I'll tell you just because I took my time,
Right. Yeah.
and I was not about to fall on that stage. But I mean, my favorite part was for sure the dance. It was so much fun, and I mean, even with my performance background, dancing is not really a part of it, and certainly dancing in heels, like not at all.
Dresses with a fringe.
Oh my gosh! Well, that part was fun. Like, give me a prop. You got a fringe? Sure, let's work it. Let's have fun. But it was mainly like the dancing part and then the dancing in heels, and I mean, I loved it. I just had a great time. But that really was like that's not the kind of performing that I do, and so
what are some of the learnings that you had? What are some of the things that you've learned?
I have really learned how to have grace. I think this experience has reminded me different lessons that I've learned throughout my life, and I think sometimes there are moments at which you'll be faced with another obstacle, and then you're kind of like, wait, I feel like I've been here before. But it really is just because the universe or God is putting you through a different test or wants you to learn something else. And for me, I've had to have a lot of grace with myself and a lot of patience because I think there was a lot of disappointment for me specifically around this, and also pride. Like there were so many feelings. There were so many feelings around it. There was disappointment. I will always maintain that. Like I invested my time, all my money, like myself.
I love the honesty.
Yeah, I will always be honest about that. I was I was vying for the crown and I wanted to win.
Absolutely.
And I did win. I won every day that I showed up. And
there were 9 people.
Yes, there are. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a competition with yourself. You know what I mean? Like, who won was supposed to win.
Right.
And so for me, knowing that, because I'm such a firm believer that what is for me is always for me, it will never pass you. And this is for Georgina. I have a different role in this. So I'm really having to learn with and sit with what that means and how do I find myself through that.
Right.
So it's been a lot of grace because it took me a lot to do this. It took a lot of me physically, emotionally, financially, you know, all of that. So it's been
still have the receipts.
I can't return any of it.
I know. Yeah, but it's fun. We got a lot of fun stuff out of it. So yeah, that's my biggest thing with the growth is really having grace and patience and
with yourself.
Yourself
too. Yeah, I mean, I love that. I love the honesty of it. Okay, so how about did you know moment before I go on to
that's fun.
Did you know that I convinced your mom to go into mixed teen with me?
Oh wow.
And she and I signed up together, and then she dropped out of it.
I did know. I did know, and I found out way later. And I didn't hear much about the story past that. But she did let me know. I was like, "Mom, you did this? I can't believe." Yeah, which doesn't surprise me because my mom really is.
But she did not want to go the whole way. She was just like, no.
Listen, and I understand.
And it was like 100 girls that year.
Really?
Oh my gosh, that's a lot. It was a lot of us.
Listen, I understand. To people who don't want to do it, I hear you. To people who do want to do it, I feel you. Like on both sides of it, it's a lot of work. So
definitely worth doing. I think discovering who you are and just going through this experience makes you a whole different person.
Right.
Like, that moment was life changing for all of us, regardless of the results, because we've now put ourselves out there. Everyone knows who we are in Canaan, and we have this role to play. And it's what we're going to use that role for.
Well, exactly. And I think utilize every single opportunity to take you to the next level.
Yeah.
Because it is something on the way. It's a part of your journey that's actually transporting you to something else. And I tell all young ladies that, like, you are all photographed. You all have amazing photo shoots. You all have have had the exposure. You've all had the free stuff. I mean, like, people giving you things and beautiful makeup and all of these sessions and everything. You utilize all of that because you were queens during that time. So to remind you of the queens that you are. And that I love. And so for that moment, it seemed to be 9, but the world is filled with us, right? And we're to walk around with our crowns and to feel good about ourselves and accept no foolishness. Yeah. So always remember that. Always get back to that. If you ever find yourself veering off track, so hold on.
Girl.
2021.
Get it together.
I was exactly. And so let that be kind of your guide through your what's next.
Yeah.
Your what's next is amazing for all because you're young, you're beautiful, you're talented, you're accomplished, and that's how I feel about it. So I want you guys to always kind of like, embody that because that's so important, and celebrate each other, celebrate your win because not only did you enter the pageant, but you actually came out with some stuff. So you were first runner-up. And actually, we were second runner-up, tied with Leah Harrison, who couldn't be here today. But you also, what else did you? You got another award that night?
Yes, I did get Miss Congeniality tied with Marquita.
Okay, so you tied for Miss Congeniality.
Yes.
Okay.
And then Best Smile.
Best Smile.
Yes.
Was that a tie with someone, or that was your own? That was the end of it?
All the time.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it wasn't. It was
No,
that was mine. Yeah, no, that
made me fun. Yeah, I mean, listen, that night I just couldn't figure out. I saw so many great legs up there. I saw so many great smiles up there. I thought, I was just like, this one could be that one. It was really one of those very confusing pageants for me that all of you could have really gotten anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just nothing. Nothing was really straightforward. And I think that's amazing that's how many amazing young men and women were on that stage that night. And I was so excited about all of you when I interviewed you anyway in the studio a couple of weeks, kind of going up to the crown. So, question, any regrets? If anything you would do differently that you thought, maybe was that edge, especially you. I mean, you're first runner up, and the thing about it is, the winner, first runner up, second runner up, it could be no matter 2 points, 1 point. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that it's 20 points. It's 100 points, and you get them for everything. So you get 25, I think, for the interview, 25 for the gown, 25 for the swimsuit, and 25 for the question on stage. I think, right? It's across the board, 25, 25. So, what would you do different? Any regret, anything that when you look back at your performance or you look back at the competition, what would you do?
I would have prepared a lot earlier in time. Although it was an interesting story that I had, the reason why I actually entered this year.
Okay.
But had I known when the pageant was and the fact that I would be eligible to participate due to my age, I would have probably started preparing from last year, because there is a lot that goes into it. And then just to be physically ready for that role as well, knowing what the expectations are, and in pageantry, it's totally different. Like, even though you're watching it, there's so much more that goes into it in terms of learning how to walk, learning how to talk, your performance, whenever you come for an interview, whether that's in radio or television, how to dress, the codes of dressing as well.
Right.
So different things. Yeah, exactly. Different things that I thought was a certain way that actually, having gone through the experience myself, is totally different. And you only learn that once you go through it, I suppose, or you're coached by the right people.
Right.
So just time, really.
Yeah.
So personally, now I want to take this opportunity for any young ladies who do want to enter, to get them thinking about what it is exactly right now. Like, honestly,
don't wait.
I think that we should take a note from the other countries that they start looking for their next
queen
right after the crown one.
Absolutely.
So
I think so. I was telling Caitlin that. You need to go to school.
Charm school, etiquette, whatever it may be, because etiquette doesn't just stay at the dinner table.
Right. So absolutely. Yeah. And do you think that you were able to transform yourself in any way, like even transform your body, like the stuff that you were working on? Like, what were your results and stuff? Do you feel like, with saying that you wish you had more time, were you able to see results?
To some extent, yes. One of my biggest things was my weight, and I'm comfortable enough talking about that, because there are certain expectations that once you are in a pageant, you have to look a certain way, and that's just standard.
Right.
Not to say that we don't love our curvy girls and our Caribbean women, but realistically, it is a pageant, and you have to also look the part.
Right.
And
but
so,
especially if you're going to be competing
internationally,
on a larger scale, like with 90 something. In Caitlin's case, it was 90 something, 93 girls.
right.
And so if you're competing against 92 other countries, there is kind of a standard. Even whether we agree with it or not is irrelevant if you're in a pageant, right? And this is the standard. Then you might not have a fighting chance if you're saying, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Just go have fun and represent your country. That'll be great. But you can't break people down for what they've said as standards if you're going to be in their thing.
Exactly. And that was something that I feel like personally I've had to learn as well. And so I've got 2.5 months. How quickly can I do this? And yes, I've had great results, but it wasn't enough, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's life, and that's something that I need to learn on my own, not to take that second helping of rice and beans or extra cassava cake or anything like that. But that all boils down to health as well.
Right.
So just being conscious, and also setting a standard for myself that I'm not just doing this to look a certain way, but I'm doing this for my own well-being and benefit. Exactly.
Yeah. And you know what? And you having said that, I think that you then would have represented, girls that look different, right? And you come out with first runner up. So I think that's pretty cool. I don't think, I think that's a great, thing for you to have to say. Like, look, I got first runner up. So it was almost like I feel across the board, nothing was kind of held against you. You know what I mean? Because if it was, then that wouldn't have been the result. That's how awesome you are, is what you're saying, So I think that's pretty good. What about you?
As far as regrets,
things you would have done differently.
No, I can't say there are. Mainly because hindsight's 2020, right? Like I had exactly the experience that I was supposed to have, and the results that were supposed to happen were exactly the results. And so there are points during the competition that maybe were not my best or were not reflective of my capabilities in being Miss K-Man or in taking on the role. But that's what it was. That was my best that evening.
Yeah.
And so I don't have, because of that, I don't have any regrets. Now, I think the way that Kim answered was great because it's really looking towards the future, to the future of how you would do things differently. It's not so much about like, okay, if I was doing this again, well, yes, I would probably start preparing sooner so that there aren't certain things that I had to be learning on the go. Because it is true that, you know, if you stay ready, then you don't have to get ready.
Right.
And what that means for me is more spiritual and emotional and mental than anything.
Right.
The mental prep and being in a public space all the time. I love performing. I love being on stage. I love audiences, however big, however small. But that doesn't mean it's easy for me to be around big groups of people and on you know, on a huge
Under the
platform.
microscope.
Under right, exactly, under the microscope. So that takes work, and that will continue to take work just with what I do. I just have to find ways to take care of myself to enjoy it. So really just looking at that, but no, I don't have any regrets. I think I would drive myself crazy if I sat and tried to
If only I did.
Yeah, right. No. Of course, I can learn. I can always learn something new, but I don't have any regrets.
Well, that's good. You guys are listening to Straight Talk, the Drive at 5 show. I'm in with Miss Cayman Islands Universe former contestants and now the actual first runner-up, first runner-up on September, what again? 18th. Ms. Kimberly Carlos, as well as one of our second runner-ups, Ms. Ashley Crowe. And just talking about the experience, talking about the journey. Just stay tuned. We'll be back with more right after these messages. And thanks so much for joining me this afternoon. Welcome back to Straight Talk. This is your Drive at 5 show. I am Catherine Tyson, your host, and I am joined in studio by the Miss Cayman Islands Universe first runner-up and second runner-up, one of the second runner-ups, because it was a tie. I want to make sure Miss Aaliyah Harrison gets her props during the show. I don't want no problems, okay? Aaliyah, I wish you were here. I'm so sorry that you're not, because speaking of Aaliyah, I mean, she's not here, but I got to give her props that night. Let me tell you, she pranced on that stage. I did not even know who it was. Were you right?
Let me tell you about Aaliyah's walk.
Come
Okay.
Every time.
That walk.
Ready for
I
the
love
runway.
that walk.
It was everything.
Yes,
yeah.
It was. I know. Let me
Showed
say.
up for West Bay. I was just like, that's my girl.
Yeah, she definitely showed up, and she had been, because I interviewed all of you guys. I think only one I had not interviewed was Tanya McLean, that had not made it to the studio the times that I was interviewing the contestants, and Aaliyah was so quiet, very shy. She didn't speak a whole lot. She just seemed very reserved. Who showed up on that stage was like, was that a representative or what? I mean, she was beautiful. Her body was amazing. Like, I mean, it was just great. So I just wanted to give her that credit because she's not here, but we wanted to say congratulations to her too. She was, I think she tied with Georgina for best in gown, and then she also got best legs.
Yes.
And then
They were
I
both
think,
tied, right?
and they were both tied
Yeah.
for that. So she
That's what
tied
the ambassador-
exactly.
yeah.
Because I think Georgina, when I had her in the studio, she thought that Aaliyah was going to win also. Like she was thinking, okay, somebody keeps tying with me. That means that, are we both going to get this or what's going on? And then she also, I think, a People's Choice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, she did. She did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was just cleaning up. She was like mopping up the stuff. And like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, mother, yeah, here's this one, here's that one. And then she got second runner up, and you tied for that. You guys all did amazing. I'm telling you, I had so much fun watching. I get very emotional with I think the first, as soon as the girls come on stage, I literally, it's like tears well up in my eyes. If I'm not careful, I could cry at that moment. Why? Because I know that how much ever are running out there to start this thing, they're starting that race and they want to be it at the finish line. And as a mom, I think that's what happens to me, that I'm seeing 9 girls that could be my daughter, and I know everybody is not going to win this thing. There's only going to be one winner, and every single one of you deserve it. You know what I mean? And so that's what happened when you all came out, and then you just did so well. The gowns were beautiful. The designs were beautiful. The bodies were amazing. The performance, the dance routine. Oh my goodness, it was something else. So
I know. I
just
feel like
want
I
to say
could
congrats.
do it all over again, right?
Yeah.
Well, I have
Yeah.
a question for you then.
Okay.
What was it like for you watching Caitlyn? Like, feeling that? Like, were you more nervous? Like,
Yeah,
were
were
you
you
nervous?
bawling?
Yeah.
I love that you turned this.
I'm sorry. I had
love
to
that.
because I know the feeling you're talking about. I
Yes.
feel that way when I watch like musicals. When
Yeah.
I see the theater, I literally, when I see that red curtain, I start
Right.
welling up. So I
Yeah.
know what you're talking about.
Well, I can tell you, since you asked, so going into it, I mean, Caitlin and I were like she had a one-woman army, she calls me, during her childhood. We didn't have a pile of people.
Mama
Yeah,
Jack.
Mama
Yeah.
Jack. So she had me, and then she had my guy, too. So we were all like, just like, we were clipping things for her and ironing dresses. We were doing all kinds of stuff. So she really didn't have a big team of people. She has 2 brothers, so they're like, yeah, that looks nice, whatever. They'll pick up chairs and stuff, but when
Yeah.
you're in stuff like this, you kind of need a little
Yeah,
more
just
than
fix
that.
that piece of hair, make sure that lash is pressed
Makeup,
down.
exactly. Buy the perfect lash or the perfect, jewelry. So I think when we got there, I was exhausted, right? So I was exhausted, and I was anticipating, what the outcome was going to be. And it's my baby, right? It's my girl.
Yeah.
So I want her to win because talk to your moms. Your moms, you can hurt us, don't hurt our children like that. You guys will understand what that means if you're blessed or if you choose to have children and that happens. You're going to know exactly. You can go back to this day and go, oh my goodness, I remember when Miss Catherine said that on the air. It is so true.
Yeah.
When you look at that person, that's your heart outside of your body. And so I think that's what I was feeling, just sitting there and just, okay, I know she's amazing. I know she's the best, but I know I'm biased. You know what I mean?
You're like your own
everybody
nerd.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I left room for being biased. I'm like, okay, I know she's the
Objectively,
best.
she's still amazing.
Right, but I'm smart enough to know, okay, it's your daughter, you might not, let's see what the judges say. But when she continued, like when she came out, it was almost like that Aaliyah thing that I talked about. Like I didn't know when she came out. She just came out with a bang, and it was crazy. And I was just like, okay, she came to win. She didn't come to play. And so the whole night, I was just kind of holding my heart in my mouth.
my
Like, did you
God.
breathe?
I wasn't having fun.
I know,
not.
I'm sure.
I have fun. I watch it now still. I go
Yeah,
back
like
and
now
watch
you
it.
can go watch it and have fun. But that
I
night,
was not having fun. And then when it was time, of course, here comes the earphones on and the questions, and then they start choosing people. And when they start choosing people, when they get down to first runner-up, so my heart's in my mouth. I hope she got best in gown. She got people's choice. There's a couple things
Yeah.
she got. And then they called first runner-up. And at that point, I felt that the first runner-up, it would either be her or the first runner-up.
yeah.
So when we got that weeded out, I went crazy.
Oh my God.
I went crazy when first runner-up was called.
You
I went
knew.
insane. I screamed. And first runner-ups people were right next to me. I grew up with her mom, so they were right like in the next aisle. So I know they saw me losing my mind after their child was called first runner-up. But I think they knew too, right?
Yeah.
And then I stopped because I said, "Girl, suppose it's
No.
not." I was like, "Calm yourself down."
Oh my God.
And Kent and I were looking at each other the whole time.
Oh my
Really?
Yes,
goodness.
she was looking at me the whole time.
Oh
She
my
saw me
Yeah.
screaming,
goodness.
and then she saw me go quiet, and then we were looking at each other like, "These people better not play with us tonight."
Oh, that is
Yes.
precious.
Yes. So, and then they called her. So then I was like, "Okay."
Oh,
and
and
I
then,
literally- I literally
Yeah, you
stopped
did like
crying.
tears, like
No,
just
she cried.
No?
I didn't cry. No.
Okay, you didn't.
No,
Okay.
it was my moment was the screaming at first runner up, and then the realization that girl, somebody else they could call someone else's name,
Yeah.
and then what you gonna do?
I really wish that I could see that moment.
I
I wish that I could
play
have
back.
Yeah, you have that playback of
Yeah.
your face for the
Yeah.
moment that you thought that it might not be.
Absolutely.
To pat on the crowd.
I wish it was like that Kardashian moment where they screen everything.
Yeah, that's a whole movie, like right there.
Oh my
You would have
God.
seen it. You would have seen it. It was just like, and then
That split second.
It was, and it felt like forever.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
They called, and I was like,
It did
Okay.
feel like forever while we were on stage.
yeah,
Well, yeah, it was a
At a
lot.
time.
There was
Just
a lot of
waiting.
space,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like,
And it's funny
smiling.
because your people, especially your parents, they're kind of living vicariously through you. They
Mhm.
literally are walking with you on
Yeah,
that
my
stage. No, they're feeling it. They really are, and it's almost like you're a part of them at that moment. It's the weirdest thing. Being a parent, this is
And
crazy.
I didn't find that it was just parents, like also friends
Your
and family.
supporters,
Okay.
yeah.
Like,
Whoever was there for you.
It was, I feel like just conversations that we've had, around the pageant and stuff, they were just like, like, oh my gosh, that was, it was a very intense experience, I feel
And the
like.
emotion involved,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. Like
Yeah.
afterwards, I think they were more upset than I
Oh,
was.
please. People
Oh,
were
man.
mad.
Well, it's like watching sports. Like if
People were
if
mad.
your team loses, like
Yeah.
you understand.
I was like getting away from people. I was like, no, do not bring that around me. Let's celebrate what happened tonight. Let's celebrate people, and
Yeah.
because it's about good taste and bad taste.
Yeah.
You can have your favorite
Yeah.
if you want your win. Go home and cuss about it. Like let's not do it here.
And
So
also
I
just give
felt like
yourself
that.
time.
Yeah.
I like took my time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took my time. I
I'm
took
still
my
taking my
time
time.
responding. I'm
Good.
still taking. Yeah, I'm still taking my
Good.
time.
Yeah.
Good.
Because it is a
I
process.
was
Like,
Yeah.
It's you
invested
coming
so
down
much of our-
almost.
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
It's a process. I mean, I'm in between gigs right now, and
Yeah.
like I just was performing. I was on a huge bender of performances and work, and so I kind of am like,
Yeah.
I'm still coming down.
Yeah.
Just coming down from that. So.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens even when you're like in university and then you get the the
Yeah, when you come
semester,
back.
then you get that break. It's like you're going on adrenaline and then you get a break and you're like, oh, I'm supposed to be at 5 classes. I'm supposed to be,
Yeah.
what's going on?
What do you do?
Yeah, so I think that's it where it's now your time. And I think when we're just talking about the response, I believe that in a way, the people that love us, they're not meaning to be selfish at that moment, but they are being selfish because it's almost like you have to take care of them because they're so disappointed. And you're like, hey, it was me that didn't
Yeah.
get this crown.
Yeah.
Can you give me a
Some
minute?
comfort. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so almost the best thing is, oh my gosh, you looked amazing, you did great. Let's focus on that. And then when you're ready to cuss about it, we'll cuss with you. But that night, it's like, no, I don't want to have to take care of you, Mom, for being disappointed. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's kind of what was happening because people were just like, they had their favorites, as usual, as with sports, as with anything, you know. So what's next, ladies? So you said you're between gigs. I know you went to Chicago. Tell us about that. Tell us about that
Yeah, and your
experience.
play that we never got to watch.
I know.
Yeah.
I really tried to get it to happen, but it just was not something that they were able to do. But
I saw some of the things that was somewhere.
yeah, well, it could have been on their website. I mean, they have different marketing,
Okay.
videos and such. But I mean, it was an amazing experience. It was a wild, like whirlwind experience.
It ran for just one weekend, or how long?
No, it ran for a month.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So I had like a week of rehearsals because this was something that we had rehearsed before the pandemic, and then we went into a month-long run, and it was just amazing to be back on stage.
Nice.
Because the theaters have been closed for
right.
Like Broadway only just opened up recently over the past couple of months. So that was an amazing feeling. I think it reminded me how important live performance is and live theater, and just reminded me of what we get to do. We've got the frontline workers who are like the doctors and just anyone working in healthcare, or even people working in the restaurants. Like anybody who is out and working has been out working throughout the pandemic. And for me, my job is then like, okay, how do we process this? Like, how do we pass on this history? How do we form these narratives, because it becomes a part of our history and our collective story, and whether it's for entertainment purposes, whether it is for, I mean, it's always for cultivating the history, but how do we do that in a fun way or a dramatic way? Do we want to cry? Do we want to laugh? And so that's when I get to come through, and it's been amazing to get to do that again.
Yeah. So how was for the audiences? I mean, it was a full audience?
It was a full audience. However, they have really strict COVID protocols.
Okay.
So they couldn't have more than a group of 4 together, for example, and then there was always a seat in between.
Okay, all right.
So it's the theater that I was working in is over 800 seats, or around 800 seats. Okay. So it never was completely full. Okay. But it was as close to full as possible.
All right, so
it's like probably a good
audience.
Yeah. So you were ready for the King-On.
Yeah. I was
100 people indoors.
The first week I was very nervous because I worked extra time with Caitlin just to get the choreography down, and
I know you were on Zoom with her.
I was on Zoom, so I was really nervous. The week that I came back, I was nervous because I felt like I had so much to learn. And so then the week of the original pageant date was when I sunk in a bit more, and then having that extra week, I was like, well, this is great.
Right.
The interview was great and so much fun, and so then I had a week to sort of chill and let it sink in and seep in a bit more.
Okay, all right, yeah. So, and what about you then, Ms. Kimberly?
Just trying to get back into my routine. So I'll be helping out with Duke of Edinburgh again. We've got a couple expeditions planned for the rest of the year. Okay. I am a busybody. Like I can't keep still.
Right. So there's no full-time employment with either one of you?
Well, I still work.
You still have your job.
Yeah, and just getting back in the role of dealing with my clients on a full-time basis and just getting familiar with everything, because influx of business is coming in, which is a good thing.
Right.
So continuing that opportunity, as well as dealing with another organization that I'm hoping to get a program started. So I am busy.
All right. Okay. And so, are you based in Cayman, or where are you based right now, or what are you going to be doing for the next year? You are a second runner-up, Ms. Cayman. One of our second runner-ups. So, what does that mean for you in terms of where you need to be based?
Sure. Yeah. So I am still based out of Cayman, and I'm still doing the things that I wanted to do where I miss Cayman. And it really is just getting to understand my history and just kind of what makes us Caymanian, really doing a lot of listening and researching and engaging within the community in different ways. And so I'm kind of going into a little bit of a hibernation period to just research and create. which has its challenges. You know, I posted on Instagram today just dealing with artistic blocks and working my way through that, but really grateful for the time to do that and to do it at home, which is what I've been wanting to do anyways. And so I'm excited to have the space to do that. And then I'm not sure what's next. I mean, I do have a musical that I'm going to be a part of that will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, a little sneak peek about that. A little bird told me that you were playing the Grinch. Can we hear a little bit of that Grinch?
For Ashley.
A little bit of
We're
that.
gonna need to borrow that stadium or that theater in Chicago for this performance.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so it will be fun to be doing that, and and just working on kind of what my next steps are as well. So I've got a couple of things, a couple of irons in the fire, but nothing that I want to talk about right now.
And I'm going to bring you guys back to talk about that. Is it Christmas on Holiday Island? Is it? I believe that's it.
Christmas on Holiday
Island, right?
Christmas Island. Well, let's not mix that up.
You know,
because I know the person who wrote it. She's
she's hearing both of us, all three of us.
Questioning it, it's just work in progress.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We all had scripts last night.
We did.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
It is. And you're also you jumped on somehow to read just to sit in for someone, and now you're a part of it, right? Who are you again?
I don't know. You know something I don't.
That's all right. Okay. Am I letting the cat out of the bag? I'm excited though. I'm excited for all of it, for all the stuff. Like I said, congratulations once again, just for showing up and showing out.
Still showing up.
Yeah. And I think with just what you said earlier, Kimberly, about really working along with the young women, really, because I believe there's so much empowerment that we need to be imparting on our younger women, right?
100%.
Yeah. So for me, at my age and stage, now I am giving it to you guys, right? But the younger ones, they want it from you all,
right?
That
domino effect.
You're the older ones to them, but they're seeing you and they're seeing all the glamour and all the. I want to be like that, So I think that really you do. Sorry, but you do have like a little responsibility.
I think we all know that, whenever we are out in public and we're engaging with people, we realize that we have this massive target that we are going to reach and make an impact on everybody that we do come across.
Yeah.
Because that's who we are and that's what we want to do. And it's about serving our community. And I think that was always at the forefront of a lot of us, especially for me. This journey wasn't just about me, but it was about Cayman and what I can offer to the island itself.
Right. And funny enough, it's also about your Filipino heritage as well.
Oh my God, don't even get me started. They're the best.
Yeah,
and for someone being half Filipino,
they're pageant people.
They come up to me and they're like, Miss Universe, let's take a photo. And I'm just like, turn around. They're like, no. They have flowers. They love it. And
that's great. I'm asking that for the next year, honey.
Forever. I mean, shoot. Yeah. That will stay with you.
I know. It's the funniest thing.
And you know what you can do with that? Like I always tell young people, like, listen, ride it till the wheels fall off, right? And that's life, period. Ride it till the wheels fall off. I don't want to be, what they say, I don't want to be like a corpse that's in good condition. I want to be all banged up. I don't have to live life. What I say during this year that you have to grasp those opportunities, grasp opportunities to reach out to the schools and offer them just opportunities for you to meet young women. Like let them arrange those things so that you can have talks with them. You do have a title, and that title can get you into a lot of doors. So I'd say, make it work for you. Yeah, instead of kind of waiting for something to happen, like make it happen. And the thing about I know Derry and Cayman's Universe just committee on a whole, they're very open to stuff like that. So you're kind of doing that stuff yourself and just let them know, they'd be very interested in that. And then what it's doing is it's getting you into those spaces where we're able to empower our young women, to feel good about themselves, to just not accept foolishness, as I started the show with, because there's a lot of that around. and to understand that beauty is not just,
External.
external. Exactly. It's so much more to that. And when they're able to start thinking and doing that at a young age, then I mean, the world is their oyster. Can you imagine what Cayman would look like if we were able
Oh
to,
my gosh,
to yes, if we were able to touch our young people like that, if we were able to really empower them and get them ready? Like, you just imagine 5 years, 10 years, what Cayman would look like?
Better place.
It's incredible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when we look at all of the things that have happened that have brought us to this place, we can talk doom and gloom all the time, but if we're actually actively working on making a difference, we will make a difference. And so I'm just giving that to you guys. I'm just saying, no pressure, no pressure.
No.
Pressure is all there, but bring it on
No.
because it's our call to action.
Yeah.
And I'm
I
ready
think
for
so.
it.
Yeah, so definitely, utilize those titles that you have, that you were so that you were honored to, have received that evening, and for all of your hard work, and stay in touch. Definitely stay in touch with your sisters, and just kind of keep that going as well, because some may be a little more disappointed than others,
Yeah.
and because you were part of the sisterhood for this amount of time, and then all of a sudden it's no more. That can also be a little challenging too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you go into hibernation, kind of know that the other people are out there too going into hibernation, and
Yeah,
they
it's
might
so
need a little
easy to,
touch, like, hey girl, how you doing?
Right.
So you guys are keeping up with each other though, like generally the 9 of you, because you were in a group. You were in a group. You had the 9 of you in a group, right? And so
some people are left the group.
no, go hunt them down, find them.
Yeah, I
See what
think
they're doing. Check
you
them out.
do what
Yeah.
you need to do to take care of yourself.
And I think that's
Take
what
space.
it is. Just
Yeah.
taking some time back for yourself, because a lot of it we were just giving so freely, we didn't have that time. So it's just having this space for self,
Yeah.
and just mental well-being.
Yeah, and you also, I mean, there is an element. This happens in theater as well. Like when you get thrown into a situation with people very intimately, and these are people that you don't really know before. Yes, you do form bonds, but then sometimes you also need to like take your space and take
Respect
time
that.
with that and respect that, so that you can also respect the fact that like we did this together.
Yeah.
We will always be sisters because of that.
Yeah.
How do you have a healthy
Yeah.
relationship from that?
No,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
And at the same time, too, just kind of recognize that there are 9 people that were experiencing the kind of same thing that you were.
Yeah.
So everyone, all the rest of us, were just looking at you, but you 9 are in the same boat. And so when I might want my space, I might be able to appreciate you reaching out more than the bunch of us who don't understand, because
Right.
you were there as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Just for the health of it is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
for
a fair
sure.
point.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, no, I think so, because after things like this, sometimes there are adverse effects on people that may not have been as strong as someone who's been, all right, I didn't win, I'm cool, I'll get back to my life. But the expectations, and then the community, and people not knowing what to say, and sometimes them saying things that are more of a burden to you. Because like I said, if I now have to take care of my grandmother who's devastated, or my mother who's devastated, it's like, I don't need to be doing that. I need to be dealing with the fact that I'm disappointed.
Yep.
Let me deal with me,
Yeah.
but you got me worrying about you. So I'm
Right.
saying, at least the 9 of you who were, a part of this, this kind of little community that you created, go find those girls. Go say hello. Just let them know. Here, hey girl, you're all right.
Let's
So,
go get some ice cream.
yeah, when I get back to our life, let's get a burger.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ladies, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. One more question. I don't know if you have an answer for it. What was the most surprising part of this whole experience? Anything stands out? Anything surprising? Anything you thought that you didn't know would happen, but it did happen? This is the on-stage question.
Yeah,
25
if
points.
that I
Surprising? I mean, other than the results.
Okay, good girl.
No, I mean, I
Okay.
think surprising overall in the sense that
yeah, I guess that's
I
a good
want-
answer.
Right?
That's a good
A
answer.
very good answer. I love that answer. I think that's good.
Yeah,
I think that's a good answer. Perfect answer. Other than the result.
No,
Well, I was gonna
that
go
was
with it,
funny.
right?
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
was.
No, but
yeah,
I mean,
okay.
just like the fact that I wish we had more time to engage with the community. Like that was the most surprising aspect out of it,
Yeah.
because I thought we
It
were
was
going to
work.
like
You
be
were
bombarding
working.
everybody
Yeah.
and be like, "Hey, we're the Miss K Mountain contestants. We're
You
here."
were closed off, weren't you?
Yeah. And
yeah.
I felt like we were almost like pulled away from the public when we were for the public, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's
So-
interesting. You're right. Yeah, like being more a part of them
Engaged,
feeling you,
yeah.
touching, you're able to feel them and touch them.
Just interact with people,
Yeah.
interact with young people,
Right.
and utilize the platform that we had to actually make that positive difference
Yeah.
that we were hoping to achieve.
Yeah, and that's why I say do
Now
it
we
now.
can do it. Yeah.
Do it now, exactly. You ladies are gorgeous. You're gorgeous, up close and personal. No makeup. You look amazing. You're gorgeous on that television. You guys, look them up on YouTube. They are there for the Miss Ken Mountains Universe 2021 pageant. Look them up. It's amazing. Whatever opportunities you get to chat with these young ladies, just do it. Continue to encourage them. And if you are a teacher or you work in an environment with young people and you want them to come out and speak with your young people or do something that you might have an idea for in terms of mentorship, please let them know, reach out, let us know, and we want to do that. Thank you all once again.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much as
Kimberly.
well. I like it.
And Miss Ashley Crowe, Miss Kimberly Carlos, who is the first runner-up of Miss King Mountains Universe this year, 2021, who is the first runner-up, and Ashley Crowe, who is the second runner-up, tied with Aaliyah Harrison. Ladies, thank you all so much. And for you guys, thank you for joining me this afternoon as well. This is my Friday because, we're not on Friday. So you enjoy your Friday when it comes. Have a great weekend, and we will talk again on Monday when it will be Medical Mondays brought to you by Texas City. So this is Catherine Tyson, just bidding you an adieu. Take care.
Au revoir.